Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Have a door folding back onto another door, and then those two doors folding onto the wall. Now I'm using the 6x6 version of the Hager hinge in a brass material with satin chrome finish. I'm using 3 pieces of the hinge per leaf. Now, the contractor and also the millwork who built the doors and are installing the doors, they're saying that the hinges have quite a bit of play in them. So when you hold a hinge with each hinge, when you hold each leaf in your hand, in 2 of your hands, and you try to twist it or bend it, it actually has a bit of a play there, and they're a little bit nervous because when they've put up a sample of the 2 doors and they're finding that there's a little bit of a sag, the door is sagging a little bit and dragging a little bit on the floor. Now, in regards to the stainless steel pin and the finials, is there any matter of if I tighten the finials, it will hold the pin tighter? Or because I did realize that the finials were a little bit loose and the pin may not be its full strength if the finials are a bit loose, or does that not even matter in this case?
It does not matter.
Right. So what are your thoughts on this situation?
Well, it sounds like you have industry professionals that they are suspicious of the quality of the manufactured product. And I would suggest that you follow their lead and take the matter up with the distributor that you bought the material from and ask for the material to be reviewed at the factory. You said that they were Hager. Not every hinge I get from Hager is perfect 100% of the time.
Right.
So there might be something there to look for.
Right. Yes, because this client just spent about $7,000 US on about 88 pieces. And yeah, so this is not a small scenario.
Sounds like you overpaid for the hinges.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do look at the hinges, and they do look, I mean, where the ball bearings are. The hinge looks like a decent built hinge, but I do see a little bit of some impurities there where the knuckle is, for sure. And based on your video, you do mention in some of your videos that yes, this is a beautiful hinge from Hager. So I guess that you do come into contact with some Hager hinges that are not exactly built to whatever it is that you're saying, you know, to its complete standard, if you want to call it that. Yeah.
Is there a question there?
No, I'm just saying. So in your opinion, which I also have to take it up with them, is that so if they're saying that 9 or 10 of the hinges are giving me quite a bit of play, that is something I should take up with them and try and get those ones specifically replaced then.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, you have industry experts that are telling you that they're suspicious of the quality of the finished product. You should take that up with the distributor that you bought it from and ask for a review from the factory. Right. I also said that not 100% of the hinges I get from Hager are without some sort of malady.
Right. Now, is there like a specific weight per how many hinges that these 6x6 can take?
It's more complicated than just flat out the weight.
Right.
You have to know the width of the door and the frequency of use. In addition to that, so you'd want to provide your distributor all of that information so that they can make a determination on, a guideline. How thick are the doors?
They're 45 mil.
Okay. So that's an awfully tall hinge for a 45 millimeter thick door.
Well, that's what I was also thinking. So I mean, the hinge is probably over specified for the thickness of the door. So I mean, it is quite strange that we're getting a bit of play and some bending in some of the hinges.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you're able to fit a 6-inch tall hinge, a 6x6, on a door that's basically, 1 and let's see here, 1 and
3/4, 1 and 3/4.
Well, yeah, it's just a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
25, 30 seconds. It's the wrong hinge for that door thickness. It's wrong.
Right.
Who told you to order that hinge?
Well, the millwork guy wanted a hinge that would be able to throw and to throw the doors, because when it folds back, he wanted both doors to come almost flush against the wall.
Yeah, but the proper hinge isn't 6-inch tall; it's 6-inch wide. So I would have suggested that you order a 4.5-inch by 6, a wide throw hinge.
4.5 tall by 6-inch wide.
Yeah, that would have. I mean, I don't know I have not seen your drawings. I don't know anything particular about your application, but at first glance, that's the wrong hinge.
Is it? So the 6-inch? Yeah. So the 6-inch high you're saying is incorrect because of what factor?
Well, for an 1 3/4 thick door, assuming that it is something in a normal range. I don't know the rest of the particulars. You can physically fit the hinge onto the door. You can get a 1 inch, 1.25 inches. Yeah, you could. It's a lot of hinge on that door. You can physically fit the hinge on an a door that's basically 1 3/4. But it may be the right hinge. I don't know. The height of the hinge is very valuable when it comes to being able to hang heavy material. Are they being used in an exterior application?
Exterior and interior, yes. There's a courtyard interior and then there's an exterior.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, unless there's something very unusual about the doors in terms of their weight and width, I would think that 6-inch was not the proper height to specify. But I don't see why, other than over-specifying a hinge, like needlessly having a hinge larger for no reason. It may not have been the best hinge to use for that application.
Right.
Or maybe it is.
No. Yeah. No, because the millwork guy said that the brass is quite soft, and that is why he was originally thinking that maybe stainless would have worked better because, well, put it this way, the doors are sagging when these hinges are mounted, which is very, very peculiar that they're actually sagging, even though the hinges are over-specified at the 6x6. I mean, we were like, it's 6x6, these doors are not going to sag, they're definitely going to fold, and there's going to be no issues, and all of a sudden, with the brass version, they are sagging quite a bit. But it could also be that the floor is not level, and that's what I was also telling the contractor. Your floor might not be level, so you might actually be looking at it that the floor is not level and the door is hitting the tiles when it's swinging over, And that could also be a factor, not just that the hinge is incorrect.
It's more likely that the design was flawed. You know, if there or the hardware is insufficient, or Hager's been making hinges since Polk was president. Okay, we're talking the mid 19th century.
Right.
So while I'm not enamored 100% of the time with Hager fit and finish, they do understand the process of manufacturing hinges. So I would take in all possible sources of evidence to determine why you're having a problem. Is brass, softer than stainless? Yes, of course. How old is this installation? How long has it been up?
It's been like about a week and a half.
Oh, there's clearly a problem with the design, because unless the hinges are clearly mismanufactured, it's easy for someone to blame the hardware when really what it is something else is not correct. It could be that the jam is not true plumb level and square, so it's maybe they were very close to hitting the floor to begin with.
So if you can imagine an arch, so the frame comes up a bit and then it arches all the way to the other side. What the millwork guy has done, he has two smaller doors to the outside, and then he has the two inner doors which are a little taller and arching towards the center. So he's saying that the top hinge of the three hinges in the middle, you're getting a little bit of a play there where the two bottom hinges are perfect when the doors are closed, but you can see a little gap in the top hinge that obviously is pulling over because of those two middle doors and how they're taller and arching. So that's where they're probably getting that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got you have an unbalanced amount of weight above the hinge. You've got more, that hinge should have been as close to the top of the opening as possible. And I'll tell you this, I think hinges were, for what you've described, you have an arched opening, and inside of there are four panels. There are two that rotate 180 degree. The inner two come out, and then the outer two will fold back against the wall. Is that the application?
Correct.
Okay. So what hinges were not the best option for that. I would have used pivots on the outside because of the fact that they're arched. I would have used a floor pivot, and I would have used load-bearing intermediate pivots. And then I would have looked for a solution, not a knuckle hinge, to solve the problem, in the sense of the doors are 1 3/4 inches. Yeah, the issue is you may not have had a lot of option there, because if you truly want to fold the two inner doors and then fold all of that 180 degree, it may have been the design. And how heavy are each of these panels?
Yeah, that's the question. I'm going to go down there now and get that.
Yeah. What's the material made of?
I believe it's like a mahogany.
Okay, so that's not heavy. What's the overall width of the opening?
I believe each door is like 30. Well, the two panels together is 32 inches. So split that in half for each door.
Okay, so this is not what's the height?
The height, just over 7 feet. Like 7.
Okay.
Well, no, about 7.5, almost 8. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? To test their theory of one of the hinges being bad, take a good hinge and swap it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because it's not especially heavy. That's for sure. And it's not especially.
I did hear that these 6x6 Hagers can hold up to 230 pounds.
No, they'll hold more than that. They'll hold way more than that. Yeah.
So, it's an interesting scenario between who and what and millwork and me and supplying, and so switching out the hinges obviously we'll take a look at that. Position, as you said, of the top hinge, where it is, and it needs to be at the highest point. That's also to take into consideration. And then we look at if the hinge, I'm just a little bit concerned about the brass being soft and it swinging out with that door attached onto the other door, and the softness of it, pulling on the bearing, and it's grinding it away.
But the bearings aren't made of brass.
The bearings are stainless along with the rod.
Yeah, so that's, all the weight is not on brass.
Right. Got it. Okay. Right, because brass is more architectural and designer, because obviously if you want a different finish from a satin finish or a polished finish, you have the brass version so that you can get a finish that you desire.
Yes, sir. That's elegant.
Right.
That's very elegantly said. If you want an architectural finish, you need to use an architectural base material, and brass and bronze would be architectural base materials.
Right. Okay. But yes, thank you so much for your insight. I think I saw an email there on your YouTube, so I may drop you a note, and I may drop you a picture. But it was great talking to you. Thank you so much.
The pleasure was mine. May send me something. Do send me something. Send me a picture, at least. I have ears that I can bend at the factory as well, so I can,
okay,
without anyone being aware of it, kind of do some work in the, behind the scenes.
No problem. Great. Thank you so much.
Sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. See you. Bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program.